Season gets underway, and on the phone with us now is the head baseball coach at the College of Charleston, Monte Lee. Monte, how are you?
Doing great, Bobby. How are you?
I can't believe college baseball is almost here.
I can't either. It gets on you quick once the school year starts back, that's for sure.
It really does. Of course, you've got a 3-game series with Xavier to open the season, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Game time 6-2 and 1. So, Monte, let's talk about this year's team. I guess the good news is you've got 3 starters coming back with experience, some are midweek starters. You've got 6 starters in the field. Unfortunately, I guess the bad news is there's nobody named Daniel Aldrich or Marty Gant or Christian Powell or Josh Renfro. So talk about this year's team a little bit.
Well, you know, we really like the group that we've got, and obviously we've got some big shoes to fill with some guys that we lost. We lost 4 guys, Bobby, to the draft. That were pitchers, and we lost 2 position players to the draft. We lost the player of the year in Marty Gant, and the pitcher of the year in our conference in Christian Powell. So we lost the 2 back-end guys of our bullpen, 2 conference weekend starters, and 2 really good hitters for our program over the last couple of years. We replaced, but we do have 6 starters back. We've got 3 guys that have starting experience that'll pitch a lot for us, and we got a couple newcomers that I think will help as well. So. It's like anything else. When you've got some new guys in the program, the guys got to elevate their roles from one year to the next. It's going to be a little bit of a wait-and-see type deal to see how they do once we cut the lights on and we're playing somebody else besides each other. I think that's going to be the true test, but I'm excited about this group. It's a really good group of guys.
Now, you do have you have the, I guess, Zokan, he's coming back, and he's a starter, right?
Yep, we've got Jake Zokan back. Matt Pegler was all conference for us last year. Won 10 games, beat Clemson, and Clemson has made some really big starts for us over his time here. He's a senior. Jake Zokan's been a starter for us. Was injured some last year, but is fully healthy. He'll probably go on Saturdays for us. And we got a freshman out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, that I think is going to be special, named Nathan Helby. And we got Ryan West, who was our midweek starter last year, and you could actually possibly see Ryan West pitching out of the bullpen for us to give us that added boost at the end of the games, along with Dre Watts, who's a senior, and Drew Fry, who's a senior. So we got 5 guys that are seniors that I think are going to pitch a good bit for us, along with a talented freshman and Nathan Helby. But, those guys have got to be good, and they got to stay healthy. And if they're good and they're healthy the whole year, then we have a chance to be a pretty good ball club.
Well, you mentioned Nathan. Who are some of the other newcomers that you rely on this year?
Well, position-wise, we don't have a lot of changes. Ben Boykin is a name that I think you'll hear a lot of from us offensively. Ben's a left-handed hitter that we got out of Spartanburg Methodist Junior College as a catcher, first baseman. I think Ben will DH for us and really swung the bat well, hit about 350 in the fall. Is hitting the ball really well right now for us. I think Ben will be a big bat for us. We got a couple freshmen that could get in the mix. Brett Butler's a freshman. Blake Butler, I'm sorry. Brett was a big leaguer. And Carl Wise, who is a kid out of Lexington, out of White Knoll High School, that's a really good player. I think those 2 guys, have a chance as well. But it's going to be mostly the older guys. We return Brandon Murray, who was an all-conference guy, Bradley Goodson, Devon Reed, Gunnar Height, Tyler Jackson, Ryan Welke, Brandon Glazer. So, we've got a lot of guys that have experience, but, some of those guys are going to have to fill the void that Marty Gant and Daniel Aldrich left in our offense, which is huge bats. But I feel good from an experience standpoint there that we don't have to rely on a lot of first-year guys to be able to step in and do it.
Talking with Monte Lee, the head baseball coach at the College of Charleston. Again, they open up their season in 11 days, Friday, February 15th. Xavier coming to town. Looking at the schedule, you've got a 3-game tournament down in Auburn. Again, you've got South Alabama coming in. You've got Connecticut, who I think everybody remembers them from a couple of years ago. You've got home and home in South Carolina. And then you've got your final year in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, and we're excited about it. As you know, Bobby, Southern Conference baseball is really strong, and it's going to be something that obviously we're excited about, and with it being our last year in the league, we're going to miss the league. It's Southern Conference baseball is at heights that has never been before, and we're going to miss playing against these guys. There's some really quality programs in our league, and, hopefully we can go out with a bang this year.
Did you have any input at all? I mean, I'm sure they asked you what you thought about moving to the Colonial Athletic. I mean, we got plenty of time. We can talk next year about the Colonial Athletic Conference, but how much input did you have in that? Because I think when they announced this move, I'll be honest with you, Mike, the first thing I thought of was, man, you're leaving a pretty good baseball conference.
Yeah, I had some input in it. Obviously, I give Joe Hall a lot of credit and President Benson a lot of credit in giving the coaches. We had a lot of meetings about this change. I mean, even from the very beginning of just the talks of possibly changing conferences to the Colonial, what we thought, what was our input. A lot of coaches gave the positives and a lot of coaches gave the negatives and, the pros and cons. And when we all weighed it out together in the room together, it was just an overwhelming majority of the coaches at the College of Charleston that felt like it was a good move. The president felt like it was a good move for the school academically. And Joe felt like it was a good move, for us athletically, in a number of ways. So, we definitely had a lot of input into the decision, and I greatly appreciate it. And it is tough. I mean, I think most people know that, if you're from South Carolina and you like baseball, this other conference is a really good place to play it. It's a pretty easy travel league. There's a lot of rivalries that have been developed over the years between our program and some of the other ones, and some very healthy ones. But that being said, I think for the athletic department's sake, it was just a great move for us to go to the Colonial League, and it's one that we're going to be excited about going to baseball-wise. There's some great programs baseball-wise in the league, and I think that the college has really made a commitment with our budget moving forward to make sure that, when we do have to go places farther than a 5 or 6 hour bus ride, we're going to fly, which makes it nice. I feel good that our guys are going to be able, to get to some of these places in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast without having the bus, and the president and Joe have made a commitment to that, and that is a great feeling as a baseball coach that our guys are going to be taken care of, not miss classes, and be able to travel in a very convenient way. So we're excited about that. I'm excited about playing some places that we've never been before, but it's like you said, Bobby. We'll worry about that next year when we're in the Colonial. This year, we're going to have our hands full trying to win the Southern Conference.
Talk about the Southern. Speaking of Southern Conference, talk about the Southern Conference. Usual suspects this year.
I'll tell you, I really think Western Carolina is going to be really good this year. They returned their whole lineup, all of their pitching. I think Elon's going to be really good. I think they could, on paper, have the best team they've had in a couple years. They returned like 6 guys that pitched, a majority of their innings and a lot of their position guys. I think they're going to be strong. App State, even though they lost some guys to the draft, they return a lot of their lineup. I think they're going to be good. Sanford's going to be good, even though they had some personnel losses. But I would say going into the season, and Georgia Southern's always going to be good. So it's going to be a really tough league again. It's going to be really exciting for fans in the Low Country. And I think the Citadel's going to be good. I know Freddie played a lot of young guys last year, and I give him credit for sticking some freshmen out there in some tough situations and playing them every day. And obviously those guys are going to be a lot better in year 2. For having that experience as freshmen, so they're going to be good. It's going to be a tough league, but if you were to ask me right now, I'd say to watch out for Western and Elon, simply because they return a lot of guys. But 1 through 8 in our league is going to be tough. It's going to be a dogfight like it always is.
Again, talking with Monte Lee, the head baseball coach at the College of Charleston, to open up the season. 11 days from today. Friday's game against Xavier, 6 o'clock. Saturday, 2 o'clock, and Sunday at 1 o'clock. And I know you're ready to get at it. So you have your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday rotation pretty much set?
I feel like we do. I mean, we may tweak it a little bit. There's another lefty in the mix, Jimmy Ravan, who's a transfer from South Carolina, and it's taken him a little time to adjust and get back to where he was when he was in junior college. He was a junior college All-American. And he struggled a little bit when he got here, just trying to figure everything out from a pitching standpoint. And and he's gotten, in my opinion, back to where he was when he was a junior college All-American. He's looked really good for us in the fall and in the spring. I think Jimmy could be the midweek starter for us this year, or possibly a Sunday starter. But I do think, Nathan Helby, the freshman, and Jimmy, both those guys, are going to be the 3-4 guys. But, I can't see anybody overtaking Pegler or Zokan. Pegler's been really, really good. He's looked as good as I've ever seen him, so far. So, 1 and 2, we feel good, and Ryan West is going to be a factor too. So I feel good as long as those guys stay healthy and they pitch the way they should. We should be okay. But we got to figure out some guys in the bullpen. Some guys are going to have to elevate their roles for sure for us to be successful.
Hey, do you follow Ray on Twitter?
I do.
Did you see where he was? He's coaching T-ball.
You know what? I figured he wouldn't be able to put it up. I figured he couldn't hang the turfs and the stopwatch and the clipboard up for long. I'm sure he's out there coaching them up just like he did for all these years. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to play him in a T-ball game. No. I've got to be the most competitive T-ball coach in South Carolina. That's for sure. Somebody's
got to get a camera of that. We got to get some pictures of that. I'm going to tell you what. Well, Monte, I'm looking forward to the season, man, and I know you are too. And good luck this year. We'll talk during the season. And again, 11 days from today, Xavier coming to town, taking on the Cougars over at Patriots Point. And I appreciate you being on, man.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, Bobby. It's always a pleasure. Thank you again.
All right, that's